Here we have Carl Cabot, who is currently at Missouri Catholic Worker. And I would like to have Carl talk about his vast experiences in Latin America, and in particular in Brazil, Carl. So you spent a lot of your time in overseas and so on, so I'll let you decide where you want to start.
Okay. I went to Brazil 69 to 73. I got down, I didn't know a word of Portuguese, so I went to language school, I think, for 6 weeks, if I remember correctly, in Rio, just outside of Rio. And then came back, so when I had come through the first, before I went to language school, I looked around, and one of our guys, Jim Comature, who was, had been in Brazil for 10, 15, maybe 20 years, I don't know how long. And he had this mammoth, quote-unquote, parish, I guess you'd call it. It was really probably about 5 or 10 parishes. We had no churches, as a rule. And it was like, I always jokingly say, well, my last little parish was like 40,000.
Wow. Remind us again, Carl, what order you belong to?
With the Oblates of Mary Immaculate. We had some, we in the Central Province had Recife, the Eastern Province had Sao Paulo, I think, and the Irish Province had some, and the Italian, and maybe even, I don't know, so that they're now all one province down there, and there's not too many Americans left there, which is good, because it should be taken care of by their own people, by Brazilians. I worked under Archbishop, I guess, Don Elder Cameron.
Oh yes, I met him.
Who was really, really a good person, and really, I think I probably
a small person but a big man, right? I
think I was probably the only person in the world that maybe made him cry, because when after Jim left, he went back to the States. I thought he was going to be like for a month or two or so, and he stayed over a year plus. And I shouldn't have tried to take his place, but I did, unfortunately. I didn't have enough savvy to know what was what. But anyway...
I believe, if I may interject here, one of his most well-known quotes is that, and he was specifically referring about the homeless and the kids in Recife. He would say to the government, when I feed these people, you call me a saint. When I ask them, while they have no food, nothing to eat, you call me a communist.
That is correct. Oh, he was a very, 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 very good person. Very good person.
Yes.
And unfortunately, like I said, so when I took Jim's place, I was kind of a little more Vatican II priest. Our processions and the Sanctus and all these things were good, but they weren't my bag. I mean, if the people wanted them, they could, have their processions or whatever, carry the Sanctus and all that. And some people in that whole mammoth place were somewhat disturbed, so they must have informed Don Elder, so he came up to my place, and he was saying, Padre Carlos está novo, is new. I was going there 6 weeks at language school, and then flopped into this place where Jim Comature had been, and actually, I think I
probably spoke fluent Portuguese by then. Yeah.
No, not me.
No, him.
Oh, he did. Yeah.
But
he was trying to impress on the people that be patient. Carl is new, and he is totally strange to the whole business. Because I really hadn't learned a word of Portuguese before I left the States. But that was one of the things. And it was an unbelievable. I should have had enough sense, but super person me somehow thought, well, I thought Jim was going to be back in a month or 2 months or 3 months, but he came back after about a year and a half, but he went someplace else. And anyway, I should.
So you worked mostly in Recife? Is that where you stay most of your time?
Yes.
Okay.
All of my time.
All of your time. All right. And you worked primarily in parishes, or one particular parish?
Well, it was Dois Rios and Três Carneiros and UR1, UR2, and these were like 400 houses each. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think when I went back 10 years later, there's like UR 16 houses that had been built somehow by I forget the name of it, but by the government, very simple, you know, block houses with a roof and whatever. So all of my time was spent in Recife.
Were these particularly poor neighborhoods?
Yeah, well, they were. See, I don't know how that deal worked because I, didn't know Portuguese. In fact, man, I'm going to digress and try to answer your question. When I got there, I thought, well, what we'll do. So we met like on a Wednesday and Thursday, 15 or 16 or so of us. And then on the Saturday or Sunday, because I had at least 5 places, maybe more, were weekend liturgies. We had them in schools, backyards, every place you could think of, because we had no churches. And so we would meet and we would read the readings for the Sunday or the weekend, and I would express my thoughts, and the rest of the people would express theirs. Then when the time came, they talked to their own people. They had like one classroom full of little kids, one of teenagers, one of older people, so that each group in the school particularly would, wherever, would then read the readings, and they would read them themselves, and then the Brazilians would then, in a sense, preach. I had expressed my ideas in regard to the readings, and then they expressed theirs, and they somehow then passed it on to the people, which was really by accident. No, not by accident. I guess I just had enough sense to know that, heck, for them to try to understand me was just
Carl, tell me a little bit about what are some of your most memorable moments that you recall in Brazil.
Well, okay, one of them, I used to pick up Don Elder in a Volkswagen van, I guess, and take him to here or there. He'd get into the van and right away we'd get to the place, and then he'd get back in the car.
We'd take a little cat nap and just, wow.
And he'd get all wound up, and he'd get a very good preacher as far as I could tell and all that. And really, his heart was with the people. In truth, he was a saint. But a memorable moment. That, and one time we had a mass on the beach. Recife, as you know, means reef, or maybe you're about to know.
It does.
And so the beach, we had a house like 2 blocks off the beach, and every Monday we would go out there after a week of wherever we were and enjoy one another.
Take a break.
And meet and whatever. And so memorable. That one liturgy there was unbelievable. One of the 3 or so masses that I've had in my 53 years as a priest. And the fact that unfortunately made Don Elder cry, trying to impress on people that Father Carl is novo, is new. He hasn't got into the swing of what's happening.
Give him a break.
That was basically, I think, what he was trying to tell the people. Anyway, but it was that was one of the places. I had been in the Philippines 3 years, and Brazil. So I, at one point, I forget where it was, had determined the places where the people in the Philippines, where I first was, people in Ireland were very warm. Spain too. Brazil was another one. Some other countries were not near as warm, and I would not have enjoyed as much working with the people there. But Brazil was one of them, where the people were warm and friendly, and I jived with her. I enjoyed and would have been willing to work for the rest of my life or whatever.
All right, great. So let's break here just